Prince Zethkar of the Valorian Empire had expected many things when his diplomatic shuttle was intercepted by human pirates. Torture, perhaps, demands for ransom, maybe even a slow, agonizing death broadcast across the galaxy to send a message to his father's fleet. He had not expected to be sitting in what the humans called a break room, watching one of his captors carefully slide triangular slices of something called pizza onto a paper plate. "You sure you don't want pepperoni?" asked the human who'd introduced herself as Captain Rodriguez. She was surprisingly small for a pirate leader, with graying hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and laugh lines around her eyes that seemed entirely inappropriate for someone in her profession. "I know it's meat and you guys are supposed to be all vegetarian, but this is synthetic. Tastes exactly like the real thing, but no animals were harmed." Zethkar's 4 arms remained bound behind him, though he noticed the restraints were surprisingly comfortable, some kind of soft polymer rather than the metal shackles he'd anticipated. His translator implant rendered her words into formal Valorian, though some concepts like pepperoni remained frustratingly untranslatable. "I do not understand your methods, human," he said, his dual vocal cords creating the harmonic resonance that marked him as royalty among his people. "Are you attempting to poison me? Is this some form of psychological torture?" Rodriguez laughed, actually laughed, and slid the plate closer to him. "Torture? Kid, this is from Tony's Cosmic Pizza down on Deck 7. Best in the Outer Rim. Though I guess everything's torture when you're tied up." She paused, considering. "Want me to untie one arm so you can eat?" The other humans in the room, Zethkar counted 6 of them, looked up from various activities. One was reading something on a data pad. Another was playing what appeared to be a holographic game involving small creatures fighting each other, and a third was actually knitting. Knitting. These were supposedly the most feared pirates in this sector of space. "This makes no tactical sense," Zethkar muttered, but found himself nodding. His stomach had been growling for hours, and whatever was on that plate smelled unexpectedly appetizing. Rodriguez untied his upper right arm with practiced efficiency. "There you go. Don't try anything stupid, though. Jenkins over there is a crack shot, and Maria's got reflexes like you wouldn't believe." The human called Jenkins waved cheerfully without looking up from his data pad. "Just finishing this chapter about the Zephyrian trade wars. Did you know they fought a 3-year campaign over spice routes? Fascinating stuff." Zethkar stared at him. "You are reading history? During a hostage situation?" "Well, yeah," Jenkins said, as if it were obvious. "Got to keep learning, right? Plus, the captain says we might be here a while waiting for your dad's fleet to show up, so might as well make good use of the time." Against his better judgment, Zethkar picked up a slice of the pizza. The bread was warm and soft, topped with a red sauce that smelled of herbs he couldn't identify, and a white substance that his cultural database suggested was some form of dairy product. He took a cautious bite. It was delicious. Good, right? Rodriguez settled into a chair across from him, her own slice in hand. "Tony's been perfecting that recipe for 20 years. Uses real tomatoes from the hydroponic gardens on level 12. "You have gardens," Zethkar said slowly, "on a pirate vessel." "Well, sure. Fresh food is important for morale. Plus, Tony's got a green thumb like you wouldn't believe. You should see his herb garden. Basil, oregano, something called cilantro that half the crew loves and the other half thinks tastes like soap." She took another bite. "We're not exactly what you'd call traditional pirates." "Then what are you?" Rodriguez exchanged glances with her crew. The woman called Maria looked up from her knitting. She appeared to be making a small hat in bright yellow yarn. "We're refugees," Rodriguez said simply. "From the Terran Colonial Authority. They decided our little mining colony wasn't profitable enough, so they pulled out and left us to fend for ourselves. Imperial forces moved in a week later." Zethkar's slice paused halfway to his mouth. "The Empire conquered your world? Conquered, liberated, whatever you want to call it. Point is, we didn't have much choice but to take to the stars." Rodriguez's voice remained conversational, but something harder had entered her eyes. "Funny thing about humans, we adapt. Took us about 6 months to figure out how to modify cargo haulers into something that could hold its own in a fight. And you became pirates." "We became survivors," Jenkins corrected, still not looking up from his reading. "Though I admit the pirate thing has a certain romantic appeal. Better than displaced persons seeking asylum, which is what the Galactic Council wants to classify us as." Maria held up her knitting. "I'm making this for my grandson. Haven't seen him in 3 years, but kids grow fast. Figured I'd make it a size bigger just in case." She smiled at Zethkar. "You have any kids, Your Highness?" The question was so unexpected, so genuinely curious, that Zethkar found himself answering. "I have a younger sister, Kira Nell. She is studying xenobiology at the Imperial Academy." "Smart girl. We could use more people studying how different species get along." Rodriguez finished her slice and reached for another. "Speaking of which, how's the pizza? Too spicy? Not spicy enough?" Zethkar realized he'd eaten the entire slice without thinking about it. "It is acceptable." "High praise from royalty," Rodriguez grinned. "Tony'll be thrilled. He's always worried about expanding his customer base to non-human species." "I do not understand your strategy," Zethkar said, accepting a second slice when Rodriguez offered it. "My father will not negotiate with pirates. He will simply destroy this vessel and claim I died honorably in battle." The humans exchanged another look, and this time Zethkar caught something that looked almost like pity. "Kid," Rodriguez said gently, "we're not planning to ransom you." Zethkar's secondary hearts skipped a beat. "Then you intend to kill me?" "We intend to feed you pizza and let you go." She leaned back in her chair. "See, we've been monitoring Imperial communications for months. We know about the peace talks with the Zephyrian Republic. We know your father's been looking for a way to end this war without losing face. That is classified information. Yeah, well, desperate people get good at gathering intelligence." Rodriguez's expression grew serious. "Here's the thing, Prince. We don't want to be pirates forever. We want to go home. And we figure the best way to do that is to help end this war so everyone can focus on rebuilding instead of fighting." Jenkins finally looked up from his data pad. "Did you know that in the past 50 years, this sector has seen constant conflict between 12 different species? But before the colonial expansion, most of these systems were actually trading partners? The point," Rodriguez continued, "is that we're going to send you home with a message, not a ransom demand, not a threat, an offer. Safe passage to neutral space for us and the other refugee fleets, and in exchange, we provide your father with detailed intelligence on Zephyrian fleet movements and supply lines." Zethkar stared at them. "You would betray the Zephyrians?" "We would end a war," Maria said quietly, her knitting needles still clicking. "There's a difference. And if I refuse to carry this message?" Rodriguez shrugged. "Then we drop you off at the nearest neutral station with a full belly and a story about the humans who kidnapped you and force-fed you Italian food. Either way, You're going home." For a long moment, the only sounds in the room were the soft hum of life support and Maria's clicking needles. Zethkar found himself thinking about his sister, studying xenobiology, about the refugees from dozens of worlds caught between advancing armies, about the taste of herbs grown in artificial soil by people who just wanted to go home. "This pizza," he said finally. "You said the recipe took 20 years to perfect?" "Give or take," Rodriguez nodded. "And you have been refugees for only 3 years." "That's right." Zethkar took another bite, considering. "So Tony was perfecting this recipe while you still had a home?" "Yeah." Rodriguez's voice was soft. "He was planning to open a restaurant. Had the whole thing mapped out. Location, menu, even the color scheme. And now he makes pizza for pirates. Now he makes pizza for family," she corrected. "Because that's what we are now, not because we chose it, but because we made it work." Zethkar finished his second slice and looked around the room at these strange humans. Jenkins had gone back to his history book. Maria was adding another row to her grandson's hat. Someone had started a pot of something that smelled like coffee brewing. "The Zephyrian Supply Depot at Kepler Station," he said quietly. "It is more heavily defended than your intelligence suggests. They have recently installed quantum torpedoes." Rodriguez didn't smile, but something in her eyes shifted. "That's good to know. And my father, he does wish to end this war, but he cannot be seen as weak, we figured. That's why we're offering intelligence instead of asking for mercy." Zethkar nodded slowly. "I will carry your message." "Good." Rodriguez stood and began untying his remaining restraints. "But first, you're going to help us finish this pizza. Tony made enough for 8 people, and we hate to see good food go to waste."